Hello, this tutorial is to show you how to make a housewife sewing kit. A housewife sewing kit traditionally is a kit that contained needle and thread, a few buttons, everything that sort of the main essentials for a sewing kit when people left home. Right, okay, what I'm going to make it out of is two pieces of contrasting material. I've got this soft brushed star fabric and a nice polka dot. I'm also going to use a length of ribbon. This is going to be used as a tie to tie the kit up when it's complete. I've also got a piece of stiffener interfacing. This is to go behind the area where the pins are. Not essential. If you haven't got anything like this, it doesn't matter. You don't actually need it. To make the kit, I also need some thread, a thimble, a stitch cutter, a needle threader and a pair of scissors. I also need a selection of pins and needles. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is sort out my fabric. Okay, my spotty fabric is my exterior to my kit, so I want to lie that face down first of all, face up should I say, face up first of all, and I want to get my piece of ribbon and I want to actually pin this to one of the short sides of my fabric. Okay, here's my short side. My short side, by the way, this is 15 centimeters and my long length is 25 centimeters. Okay, so I get my piece of ribbon and put it sort of halfway along, about there. This is going to create, as I say, this is going to create a tie to keep the kit together once it's completed. Okay, so that's there, and just get the two ends and just fold them up so as they don't get trapped in this other seam. Okay, right, I'm going to get my second piece of material now and I'm going to lay that right side down. So I'm going to lay that on top. So the two faces, the two right sides of the fabric are face to face. Okay, and I just want to start in this corner here and just pin these two pieces of fabric together. Okay, there. Okay, we're going to leave about a half centimetre to a centimetre seam allowance here. Don't want it doesn't need to be too big. There's not a lot of sewing involved. Okay, and along here, down this side, let's just turn that a little bit. Get these sides together. These have been cut precisely, so they will fit together nicely. There and there. Okay, and then along the other long side. Pin and pin and pin. Pin. And finally, again along the side where we've got our little piece of ribbon. Okay, there we are. So that's the two pieces of material pinned together. Okay, what we're going to do now is thread our needle. I'm going to use some red thread, just so as you can see my stitches. Normally I would use white on this white fabric, but as I say, the whole point is to let you see how to sew. So I shall use this nice bright red. Okay, I'm going to thread my needle and I'm going to actually use a needle threader. This is my needle. So it's got quite a small eye because it's for hand sewing, and this is the needle threader. Now, the needle threader has this piece of wire here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to put this wire through the eye of the needle, which is actually easier than trying to put a piece of cotton through because it's it's firm, it's rigid, it doesn't wobble about like cotton does. Okay, so we're going to push our needle onto the piece of wire. There we go. So there's the wire and there's the needle on the wire, and then we're going to get our piece of thread and we're going to put it through the wire. Okay, so if I put that like that, okay, and if you can see that the cotton is actually caught between the two. Oh no, it's not. Let's try again. There we go. And the cotton is caught between the two pieces of wire. Okay, so we hold our piece of cotton through like that. We get our needle and we pass the needle back over the wire and continue over the cotton, and if you can see that the cotton is now actually on the needle. Okay, and we can just remove the needle threader, and there we have our thread on our needle. Okay, I'm going to tie a knot in our thread so that it doesn't come through. As I say, remember I'm just using this red just to show you the stitches. Normally this would be in white, so as it doesn't show through once the sewing's done. Okay, there's my needle threaded. I'm not going to start, as you might think, in a corner. I'm going to start halfway along one of the long lines, one of the long sides. This is because we need to keep a section of it open in order to turn it the right way, so we've got the nice side of our fabric showing. So we need to turn this the right way through. So we're going to leave a gap about here. If we leave it on a corner, it makes it very difficult to turn and to cut the corners. So I'm going to put my needle from the back. I'm going to put my needle in. As I say, we're leaving about a half a centimetre seam allowance there. So half a centimetre to a centimetre in from the edge. Put our needle through and pull the needle through and pull all the cotton through, the thread through. Okay, so now what we want to do is make a stitch about 1/4 centimetre, half a centimetre long, so about here. Okay, put our needle in, and then we can see if we lie the needle along the back of the fabric and push it so that it comes back out. We've now got the needle through 2 pieces of fabric and we're pushing it through, and here it comes through and it creates our first stitch. The cotton is wound round the edge of the fabric, but don't worry, I'm going to make my thread a bit shorter. There we go. So there's our first stitch. Okay, and the thread's through on the front, ready to make our second stitch. So we go in, and you only need to be in, as you see, about a half centimetre, a centimetre of needle through, and then you just lie it down and push it through the fabric. Okay, and that's made our second stitch. Remove the pin. There we go. And look again, about the same sort of distance, about half a centimetre. See the needle through, push it, so you've got about half a centimetre of needle. Push it through to the front, and you can see the sort of space that it's left. Okay, so you want to try and keep nice and even with your stitches. Another way you can do it is to go into your fabric and actually pull the needle out the other side and do it individually, and then look at the other side, think it's going to be about there, push your needle through and pull it out, and then look at the space, push it in, and guess, feel with your fingers about there, and pull your needle out. Okay, so there's two ways of doing it. Both take a little bit of practice, a little bit of getting used to, but that's what this is all about. If you look like your stitches are getting a little bit winky wonky, take it out and start again. To do all of this is only going to take you about 15 minutes. So if it doesn't look too good and it takes you half an hour, it's not a long time. So if you start and it looks a little bit odd, doesn't look very straight, or they're not very even, or they're too big, you don't want the stitches to be too big, just take it out and start again. Okay, we're up to our first corner here, so put our needle in. Okay, and we need to turn our material now. We can see that our stitches are along the line where we want to go down the side of the fabric. So we turn it around. There's our stitches here. Turn it around and make our first stitch on our new side. There we go, here comes the needle out. Oh, and I've got a little bit of a knot there. There we go. Take the needle out, the pin out, and in, and through, and in, and through. Okay, you can also use a thimble. Some people use a thimble when they're doing hand sewing. Put your thimble on your index finger and put it behind your fabric, and hold your fabric with your second finger. Okay, like that. This is a little bit trickier. It takes, again, a little bit of practice getting used to it, but that's what this tutorial is all about. Put your needle in and run it along the side of your thimble and out, and in and out, and in and out. Right, I shall leave you to practice that. I'll leave you to continue all the way around. Not all the way around, I'm saying all the way around. You want to do it until you get to where that pin is there. So I shall switch off the camera. I shall finish this and let you know how long it's taken me. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around the edge of my two pieces of material. This is where I started, and this is where I am at the moment. So I just want to do another few stitches in and out, and in and out. Okay, as I said, we want to leave a gap here because we need to turn this the right way round. So I'm going to finish off here, and I'm going to do a few back stitches to create a knot to hold these stitches in place. Okay, so this is where my fabric, my thread's coming out of my fabric for my last stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put another stitch behind that. So put the needle in there and pull it out about where that is. See, it doesn't have to be exact, don't worry. And what's happening is that this is creating a loop. See that loop there? Okay, what we're going to do is put the needle through the loop. Okay, and that will create a knot. We'll just pull that tightly. There we go, and there's a knot created. I'll just do that again just to make sure it's secure, in about the same place. Doesn't have to be exact, but just in about the same place. Put the needle in, make a small stitch, see the loop, put the needle through the loop and pull it tightly. There we go, and there's our knot made. I'll just do one more for good luck. Just take the thread through through the knot, my words are right, through the knot, there we go, and just snip that off. I've just caught that with my fingernail, so I'll just get rid of that. Okay, so there's our gap that we're going to eventually turn our 2 pieces of material the right way round. Okay, before we do that, we need to remove the pin at this end that was holding the piece of ribbon, and what we also want to do is just snip the corners of our 2 pieces of material to make turning easier, or to make, once they're turned, make the corners lie nice and flat. So we need to get our small scissors, our embroidery scissors, and just as close to the stitches as you can, but without getting the stitches. So I suggest you put your thumb over your stitch like that and cut that triangle corner off. Okay, so you've taken the corner off there, and do the same with the next one. Just put your thumb over there and snip the triangle corner off. If you're not used to using scissors, if you don't want to use scissors, always ask somebody else to just snip these off for you. Okay, snip that one there. You can also do them a slightly different way, which is cutting a V into the corners. I just find this way just a little bit easier, and snip that corner off as well. There we go, that's our 4 corners snipped away, and now we can turn. Okay, so here's our corners snipped, and here's the opening that we're going to now turn the fabric the right way round. Okay, so just put your thumbs in the hole, in the gap, and gather up the material and push it through the right way through. There we go. Don't worry if you feel your stitches give a little or slightly split. This is going to be sewn around again. As long as it's not too big a rip, you should get away with it. Okay, so push those through. There we go, there's our fabric now the right way through. You'll also see our ties, our ribbon ties. It's now caught in the end there. Okay, the next thing we want to do is just iron this out. We want to push the corners out first of all. So I'm just going to use the stitch cutter with the end on, something that's not too pointy at the end, just to push the corners out, just like that. There we go. Don't want to push too hard, you don't want to go through your corners. Okay, and this one here, just push through, and the third one. There we go, just make the corners stand out a little bit. They don't need to be pristine points. This is a sewing kit. And then just go through and just get the edges, so the edges are all out. Okay, then we're going to get the ironing board and just give all this a quick iron. Makes it easier for sewing the next time round. Okay, here's our iron. We're going to just put the iron into the middle and push out to push and make onto our seams, make our seams nice and flat. Here's where our opening is. As you can see, it wants to fold under, so we shall fold this under to follow the line with the others. I've just gone over that actually, so it's made it a little difficult. There we go, and that one over as well, and we'll iron that nice and flat. There we go. As you can see a little bit of my red stitches here. This is this is just to show you, so you would actually use white stitching there, and that wouldn't be seen, it wouldn't be a problem. This is going to be sewn over again, as I say, in a moment or two. Just fold that back. There we go, make that nice and flat. and push out these seams, push out with the iron, make your seams nice and flat. Just makes it easier for sewing when we sew it in a moment. If you're not confident with an iron, again, ask somebody to do it for you. Irons are very hot, and you shouldn't really be using them if you've not used one before. So here's our 2 pieces of material now sewn together, turned the right way out and pressed so it's nice and flat and easy for the next piece. Right, what we're going to do now is first of all I'm going to use a piece of this interfacing just to give it a little bit of backing for where the pin holder is going to be, which is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that through the hole in the side and just push that up there we go. So that just gives that a little bit of stiffness. As I say, if you haven't got anything like that, don't worry, it's not essential. Another thing you could do at this point is maybe use a little bit of wadding, and again you could pop that through into there and create sort of a pin cushion effect. I'm not going to do that this week. As I say, you can do, it's just another added little feature. You'd put that like that there, and then when you can then put your pins in. Oops, that stuck to my finger. Your pins in like that when you're working with it. I'm actually going to have the pins more like that, so it doesn't really matter. But if you've got a bit of wadding or some old tights or anything like that, anything that you can just bits of material, anything you can cut up and just make a little bit of stuffing for that side, and then all you'd need to do is just sew a line of stitching along here just to keep that in place. But as I say, we're not doing that today. And just remove that wadding again, put that to one side. Okay, so there's my little piece of stiffener in there. As I say, if you haven't got it, doesn't matter. And what we want to do now is fold up to make our pocket. Okay, so I'm going to fold up about, remembering which side is your right and your right side and your inside. I'm going to fold mine up about there, about 8 centimeters, I think. Let's have a look. Yep, that's 7.5 centimeters. So that's fine. And what we're going to do is just put in a couple of pins here, one there, and one the other side. Just put that in there. This is where the opening is. I just want to make sure that that's nice and flat there. There we go. And there. Okay, so there's our pocket. We're nearly finished now. So what I want to do is I'm going to sew starting from one of the edges, one of the ends, up all the way around down this end, and that will create the pocket, and it will also give a nice top stitch, a nice finish to the exposed sides as well. Okay, so first of all I want to thread the needle once more. Okay, remember I'm using red thread just to show you. I would normally be using a white thread for this white fabric. Okay, there's the needle on the threader. There's the thread through the metal, and there's the thread onto the needle. Okay, again I'm going to put a little knot in this to start off. Oops, didn't quite get that. There we go. There's my, okay, that's my knot in there. Okay, right, what I'm going to do is I want to start, as I say, in one of these pocket corners. I'm going to start in this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle inside and get it into the corner so as it hides my knot. Okay, and we want to get it nice and close to the edge. Okay, there we go. Oops, just ignore this bit of there. I'd say normally you wouldn't see that because that would be white cotton. Put one pin back in there. Okay, so same as before, I'm just going to do a little back stitch here to make sure I go into this edge. She says I should drop the needle. Okay. Okay, and we're going to come through from the back. Now these want to be nice small stitches, and as I said, they want to be quite close to the edge, as close to the edge as possible. Don't worry about that end there, that'll soon disappear when I cut that off. And in. My cotton needs to be shortened a little bit. Just pull the loose end of my cotton down. There we go. And back through. And through again. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm catching now what is actually 4 layers of fabric, because it's the 2 folded over to make 4. I'm catching those all between here. I'm going to take out my pin because it's about to get in the way. Okay, and this is, I've got to be a little bit careful here. This is where my opening is, so I want to make sure that I catch all the seams there. You can of course put a little stitch in before you start. You could sew that hole up, but I don't think it's too much of a problem to do it all together. If you find that your needle is a little bit stiff going through your fabric, what you can use is your thimble again. Put it on your finger and push the end of your needle through like that, and then pull. Takes a little bit of getting used to again. Push through. There we go. You see these stitches are a lot smaller than the ones we used earlier. These one, because they're on show, so we want them to be nice and neat. But we want them to, this is like the final stitch, so we want this to be nice and firm, and to hold all our fabrics together. Okay, I'll just go up to this end here, and then I shall switch off the camera and join you again when I've finished. When I did it the first time round, I forgot to mention, it took me a little under 10 minutes to go all the way around first time. So if you gave yourself a good 20 minutes, half an hour, you should be able to do the first row of stitches round easily within half an hour. Okay, it's certainly something to aim for anyway. Okay, through, and again it's easier to do it this way rather than feeling the cotton at the back of the fabric, because you've got 4 layers to go through and it's a little bit bulky. So if you do it backwards and forwards in this motion, it's a lot easier. There we go, and here's our corner. Okay, and what we can do here is we can just do a couple of stitches into itself. One there. If I just go into the same place, do a little back stitch, and go to the same place again. Let's see, there's the stitch. Go back into the stitch, do a little back stitch. That just gives that a little bit of firmness for that pocket, that corner of the pocket. Okay, and then we're back out, and we're now onto the single part, the just 2 pieces of fabric rather than 4 pieces of fabric. So this is a little bit easier. Still nice and close to the edge. Okay, and I can go and do it this way now. Okay. Make sure that you're going all the way through. Make sure that your stitches are through onto the other side. Okay, I'll switch off the camera now and finish this, and let you know how long it's taken me. Okay, I've sewn all the way around the edge. It's taken me 15 minutes, so I think again you could easily do it in half an hour, but it's not a race. Don't worry if it takes you longer than that. This is all about practicing your stitching, not being an Olympic stitcher. Okay, so just got to do our last stitch or so. So in here, in this corner, and out again through there. Okay, and that's us. We've now stitched from this corner here all the way around and ended up at this corner here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a couple of back stitches to create a knot. So in there, see the loop form, and grab that needle through the loop and just do that a second time, needle in, see the loop forming, put needle through the loop and pull it nice and tightly. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're just going to bury the knot inside the pocket. So put our needle in there, oops, don't let it come out the side, just open your pocket, see your needle inside there, see the needle, push it through, there we go, until you feel it stop. You can now see the knots has almost disappeared. Okay, so we just need to just snip that off, snip that inside with our scissors, oops, and again, there we go, and we are finished. And that's a very nice, easy to make sewing kit. What you can do is you can sew a couple of lines here, section out the pockets if you choose to. Not essential, as I say. All I do then is I have a kit which has got a tape measure, stitch ripper, the all important needle threader, little pack of pins and needles, some tailor's chalk, and a thimble. And there we go, tie that up. There's our stitching at the front. I'd say mine's reasonably neat. It's not too neat, but normally this would be white, so you wouldn't see it anyway. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it looking handmade. It is handmade, be proud of it. And bring the ribbon round and round. Let's tie it to the top. Not very good at tying ribbons, I must say. Bows, not my forte. There we go, and there's your lovely little sewing kit. Hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Look out for the others. Thank you. Bye bye.